San Francisco, one of the most iconic cities in the United States, is renowned for its breathtaking scenery, largely due to the more than 50 hills that dot the landscape within its city limits. Perched at the northern tip of the San Francisco Peninsula, this city draws visitors from around the globe with its magnetic charm, highlighted by the majestic Golden Gate Bridge, the rolling fog that blankets the bay, and steep streets that offer stunning views of both the city skyline and the vast Pacific Ocean. More than just a picturesque destination, San Francisco stands as a global hub of innovation and technology. Home to giants like Twitter and Uber, the city plays a central role in the technological revolution that fuels Silicon Valley, but its story doesn't end there. Culturally, San Francisco is a mosaic of diversity, where you'll find the largest Chinatown outside of Asia, a vibrant space filled with rich traditions and tantalizing cuisine. The Mission District, another cultural cornerstone, is famous for its colorful, each one telling a story of the community's history, struggles, and resilience, blending artistic expression with a sense of identity. But behind the glitz and groundbreaking innovations, San Francisco grapples with significant challenges. The city's exorbitant cost of living has driven many residents away, making it one of the most expensive places to live in the country. Alongside this economic pressure is the stark reality of homelessness. San Francisco is among the American cities with one of the highest rates of unhoused populations, a stark contrast to its image as a beacon of progress and wealth. And thus, we uncover the darker side of San Francisco, where prosperity and hardship coexist in a delicate, often uncomfortable balance. Not many people realize that San Francisco, once seen as a symbol of progress and prosperity, now struggles with some of the most visible urban blight in the world. In fact, some reports suggest it ranks as the third most rundown city globally, earning the unfortunate title of the world's most expensive slum. The surge in homelessness in San Francisco, which began in the late 1970s, was driven by a combination of factors: deindustrialization, skyrocketing housing prices, and deep cuts to social welfare programs. One of the most critical moments in this crisis occurred during the 1970s with the deinstitutionalization of mental health services. Mental health institutions were closed, releasing many individuals into communities without proper support systems. This lack of resources led to many struggling with mental illness finding themselves living on the streets, perpetuating a cycle of homelessness that has proven difficult to break. A 2019 survey highlighted that 70% of San Francisco's homeless population became unhoused while living in the city, with the primary causes cited being job loss, substance abuse, and mental health issues. The housing crisis, coupled with rampant gentrification, has only widened the gap between the wealthy and the poor. Neighborhoods like the Tenderloin have become synonymous with urban decay, where streets are littered with trash, drug paraphernalia, and human waste. A 2018 investigative survey by NBC Bay Area covered 153 city blocks, uncovering not just piles of garbage, but over 100 used needles and more than 300 instances of human feces in the heart of downtown. In response, Mayor London Breed proposed a $13 million increase in the city's street cleaning budget to tackle the escalating problem. According to the 2017 San Francisco Homeless Count report, the city had roughly 7,499 homeless individuals, with nearly half concentrated in the downtown area. San Francisco has become a city of extremes, a paradox where cutting edge, technology, and affluence coexist with severe poverty and social despair. Despite ongoing efforts, the city continues to grapple with the deep-rooted homelessness crisis, with no clear end in sight. Compounding this challenge is the worsening drug overdose epidemic, another crisis that is intricately linked to the city's struggles. By August 2024, 45 people had died from accidental overdoses in just 1 month. 33 of those deaths linked to fentanyl, a potent synthetic opioid. This brought the year's total fatalities to 462, nearly matching the overdose deaths in all of 2023, which had already surpassed 2020 as the deadliest year in the city's history. Fentanyl has driven this rise in overdose deaths, becoming a major public health threat in recent years. In 2021, Mayor London Breed declared a state of emergency in the Tenderloin district to address the growing fentanyl crisis.
Too many people are dying in this city. Too many people are sprawled out all over our streets. And now we have a plan to address it.
Despite crackdowns on open-air drug markets, the death toll continued to climb. In 2022 alone, San Francisco witnessed 647 accidental overdose deaths, and that deadly trend has persisted into 2023 and 2024. The proliferation of fentanyl, often mixed with other drugs like methamphetamine, has worsened the crisis. Public health experts warn that the epidemic shows no signs of slowing, with reports indicating a fatal overdose occurring every 9 hours in August 2023. San Francisco, caught between the forces of wealth and extreme hardship, faces an ongoing battle against this devastating crisis, one that continues to claim lives at an alarming rate. San Francisco has long been a pioneer in the sex industry, embracing a more progressive and open attitude towards sex work. In fact, the very term sex work was coined by Carol Lee, a San Francisco resident also known by her moniker Scarlet Harlot. Lee was a fierce advocate for changing the public's perception of prostitution, arguing that it is not a sin, but a form of labor that deserves respect. Her efforts were instrumental in shifting the conversation around sex work, framing it as a legitimate occupation rather than a moral failing. The city's history is rich with stories of women who wielded power and influence through their involvement in the sex industry, going as far back as the Gold Rush era, when sex workers were often treated with a certain level of respect due to the scarcity of women in the region. Even today, the nightlife of San Francisco carries traces of this complex history, particularly in areas like Cap Street in the Mission District, long known as a red light district. Recently, however, there has been a noticeable uptick in street prostitution in this area, sparking concerns among local residents. While sex workers have been a familiar presence on Cap Street for decades, the current worries stem from increasing violence and human trafficking often associated with the industry. San Francisco also boasts iconic venues tied to its colorful sexual past, such as the Condor Club, celebrated as the world's first topless bar. Local activists like Margot St. James, founder of the organization Coyote, Call Off Your Old Tired Ethics, played key roles in advocating for sex workers' rights and providing critical healthcare services through establishments like the St. James Infirmary. These efforts continue to underscore San Francisco's deep entanglement with the sex industry, where innovation and controversy have coexisted for decades, shaping the more shadowy side of the city's nightlife that still endures today. Now, when planning a visit to San Francisco, one of the most common questions is whether the city is safe. The truth is, San Francisco remains a relatively safe destination for tourists, as long as they are aware of certain neighborhoods to avoid. The Tenderloin, for instance, is often cited as one of the city's most dangerous areas due to its high levels of homelessness and drug-related activities. Though located close to popular tourist spots like Union Square, it is wise for visitors to exercise caution, particularly after dark. Similarly, the Mission District, while bustling with energy and cultural vibrancy during the day, can become more precarious after sundown, especially in its more crowded streets. Soma, south of Market, offers a diverse range of attractions but can be risky in its southern sections, particularly between 4th and 10th Streets. And then there's Golden Gate Park, undeniably beautiful during daylight hours, but best avoided after dark due to the homeless encampments that sometimes emerge there. San Francisco has a long and storied history with organized crime, notably through the San Francisco crime family, also known as the Lanza crime family or the San Francisco Mafia. Rooted in the Little Italy community of North Beach, this syndicate took shape in the early 1930s and reached the height of its power under the leadership of James "Jimmy the Hat" Lanza, who took control in 1961. During its peak, the crime family boasted around 15 to 20 soldiers carrying out various criminal operations. It's hard to imagine in today's world, but the Mafia was once a secretive organization, operating in the shadows. Now, its legacy is often romanticized in American pop culture. Though the golden age of the San Francisco Mafia has long since passed, the echoes of organized crime can still be felt in some parts of the city, particularly in the historic North Beach area. While much of the Mafia's influence has faded, organized crime left an indelible mark on San Francisco's history. The Barbary Coast, a wild and notorious nightlife district in the past, became a central hub for illicit trade, with organized crime groups controlling activities from gambling to drug trafficking. Despite the decline of Mafia dominance, the city continues to wrestle with the remnants of this darker past, as human trafficking and drug networks persist, often operating beneath the radar of law enforcement. Efforts by city officials and law enforcement have yielded progress. For instance, gun violence has decreased by 38%, and homicide cases have fallen by 27%. However, the root causes of organized crime remain a challenge, requiring continued focus and vigilance to prevent such elements from regaining a foothold. The darker side of San Francisco also manifests in various corruption scandals and persistent social problems. One of the most high-profile cases involved the arrest of Mohamed Nuru, the former head of the Department of Public Works, which exposed widespread bribery and misuse of public funds. Nuru's case opened the floodgates to a series of indictments that implicated government officials, consultants, and contractors, painting a disturbing picture of corruption that runs deep within the city's governance. San Francisco's issues with corruption are fueled by bureaucratic inefficiencies and a complicated, opaque system that allows public officials to exploit the process for personal gain. Numerous instances have surfaced, showing how the lack of transparency in city operations has enabled officials to fast-track permits or divert resources for their benefit. As these scandals come to light, San Francisco finds itself at a crossroads. Reforms are urgently needed to restore public trust and create a government that is more transparent and accountable. Without such efforts, the shadowy underbelly of corruption and social issues will continue to cast a dark cloud over the city's allure, reminding residents and visitors alike of the far-reaching consequences of unchecked corruption and intertwined social crises.